We're very happy to be here at the home of my student Sajid in this town of Dewsbury, and to address you on the subject of Surat Rahman and Akhir Zaman. This lecture was supposed to have been delivered at the Al-Hashim Academy, but unfortunately it could not be delivered there, and it had to be rescheduled to this sitting room. But you can see we have a full sitting room here in Dewsbury, and we thank Allah that at least we have a chance in Sajid's home to deliver the lecture on a topic I've never lectured before, first time. So there you are, Dewsbury, for the first time ever, Surat Rahman and Akhir Zaman. This is a subject of supreme importance not only to Muslims, but I think members of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, would be very interested and keen. Find out what does the Quran have to say, and in particular what does Surat Rahman of the Quran have to say about events unfolding in the world today and about to unfold in the Great War. So I hope that they will listen to this lecture, and I look forward to coming back to Dewsbury another time, inshallah. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. We begin with Allah's blessed name. We praise Him and we glorify Him as He ought to be praised and glorified. Betraying the Quran, you have an incapacity to study the Quran. When someone comes to teach you the Quran, you reject him. So prepare for yourself. Prepare for that day when you will have to answer for your betrayal of the book of Allah. That's my warning for you. Then there is another example in the Quran where Allah speaks about Zulkarnain travel in the direction of the rising of the sun. And he came across a people, لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُمْ مِن دُونِهَا سِتْرًا, that they were a people for whom we had provided no covering other than that which was naturally provided. Give me some water, please. So maybe a people living a primitive way of life. Jazakallah. A people living a primitive way of life. How will He deal with these people? And Allah uses one solitary word, كَذَلِكَ, one word. He met them like that, He left them like that. So Allah is very economical in the use of language in the Quran, precision in the Quran, literary refinement in the Quran, excellence in the Quran. So then why? When we come to Surat Rahman, He repeats one ayah 31 times. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. And the answer that I have to offer is this. This is repeated 31 times in the Quran because this is linked to Akhir Zaman, or the end time. And it is a matter of supreme importance. That is why He's repeated it 31 times. I will now proceed to show the link with Surat Rahman and the end time. But if you have another answer, if my critics say again Imran Hosein is wrong, he's wrong in every single thing he says, he's wrong. So let's close the doors of the masjid on him. Well, then my question to you, and all of Britain is listening, remember that. All of Britain is listening now. What answer will you give? The question to you I'm asking you, please let me know your answer. If Imran Hosein is wrong, why did Allah repeat, subhanahu wa ta'ala, why did He repeat فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ 31 times in the Quran? I am waiting for your answer, and all of Britain is waiting for your answer. Now then, since I said that Allah has repeated فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ because there is something of supreme importance here, and it is linked to Akhir Zaman, now let us proceed. تكذبان فبأي آلاء ربكما ربكما meaning two people. Allah is addressing two people, and these are two people who reject the truth, reject what has come from Allah. The kuffar front, this side kufr, this side kufr. يكذب فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. كذب, to reject, to tell a lie.
Just came here to listen to the Sheikh again.
No problem.
No, I came at the right time. I wanted to listen to the فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Yeah.
A bit now when he's finished.
Just a little bit. Sit down, Anya.
Why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeated in the Surah Rahman, repeated this ayah 31 times? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. And our first response is that this is repeated 31 times, knocking on our heads to tell us that here in this surah there are two people, and they are both people who reject the truth, who are in kazab, who tell lies, and that this alliance of these two people is a matter of supreme importance in Akhir Zaman. Who are the two people who are telling lies and who are rejecting the truth, and who pose therefore a tremendously great danger? The Quran, the surah identifies them. Ya ma'ashar al-jinni wal-ins. It is a community of human beings who are evil. Not all human beings. A community of human beings who are evil. And a community of jinn who are not Muslims, they are kuffar, evil. And these two are in alliance with each other. This is what the Quran, the Surah Rahman, is directing our attention to. Well then, where do we start to study this subject? My answer is to go to Surah Sad. If you have another answer, all of Britain is listening to you, so we want to hear your answer. This is my answer. Let me hear yours. Surah Sad of the Quran is supremely important for Akhir Zaman. The Quran declares that it has come to explain all things. Does it not do that? Huh? Tell me.
Yeah.
Does it not do that?
Absolutely.
The Quran has come to explain all things. It says so in Surah An-Nahl of the Quran. وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. To explain all things. So it must explain the reality of the world today, the strange reality of the world today. And this was the topic, the second topic which had been chosen for my lecture at the Al-Hashim Academy tonight. The Quran explains the reality of the world today. But alhamdulillah, the lecture is rescheduled here for the sitting room, and we are pleased with Allah for that. We thank Allah for that. The reality of the world today is strange and mysterious. And the people, the young people in Britain in particular, they want to know, what does the Quran say about the world today? And when someone offers what the Quran has explained concerning the reality of the world today, these people Their hearts now are satisfied. We've got knowledge. Surat Sad begins the process of explaining that reality. Nabi Dawood alayhi salam is sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to rule on earth. Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard. We have sent you, we have ordained, we have placed you to rule on earth, to govern on earth. So therefore a state. To rule and to govern you need a state. And this we call the Khilafah state because he is Khalifa. And the Khilafah state is one in which government is based on فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. The truth doesn't come from the Pakistan National Assembly. The truth comes from Allah. So the Khalifa is sent on earth to rule on the basis of the truth which has come from Allah. And Allah informed the angels, this is why I'm sending mankind on earth. إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. And now he sends the Khalifa. And the state is established for the first time in history. We call it the Khilafah state. They call it the Holy State of Israel. So this is truly a historic moment in history, when the Khilafah state is established for the first time, and Allah's Khalifa is ruling. And then his son succeeds him, and the masjid is built. And it becomes the ruling state in the world. And the Israelite people, who are following, there's only one deen with Allah, only one deen with Allah. So if you do not recognize that Nabi Dawood alayhi salam was ruling on the basis of Islam, I suggest you take a one-way ticket to the moon. Yes. There's only one deen with Allah. So the followers now are Muslims. These are Muslims. But they call themselves Israelites. They're Muslims. And this Banu Israel, who follow them, Nabi Dawood and Nabi Sulaiman, they are ruling the world. This is their golden age. Imagine that. Allah has ordained this. And then something happened and everything fell down. What is it that happened? Don't look for the answer in CNN, look for the answer in the Quran. The answer is there in the Quran if we will take a little time to study the Quran. It's there in the Quran. Everything collapsed for them. What was it? Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam sees a vision. Allah says in Surah Sad, وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا Sulaiman. Allah caused him to see something which caused distress for him, fitna. What did he see? وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيهِ جَسَدٍ. We have a Hafiz here? We have any more Hafiz? Only one? So if I make any mistake, and correct me if I'm not correctly representing the Quran. Good. وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيهِ جَسَدٍ. And Allah cast on his kursi. That's a kursi there, a chair, for us. But for a king, it's called a throne. A throne. So Allah cast on his throne, or placed on his throne, a jasad. A jasad is a being, a body without a soul. And when he saw that jasad, that Allah had shown him in the vision, it terrified him to such an extent. It caused him such distress. ثُمَّ أَنَابَ. He immediately turned to Allah in penitence. قَالَ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي. And then he prayed to Allah. And he said to Allah, kindly forgive me. Because anytime you want to ask something from Allah, first you seek forgiveness. And then he asked. But the dua that he now asks is the most extraordinary dua in all of history. There's never been a dua like this. What did he ask for? وَهَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي. Grant me a kingdom that can belong to none after me, that cannot be inherited by any after me. Implication, I want my kingdom, my Khilafah state to end when I die. No one must inherit it. This has to be something terrible, 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 terrible that he saw. Frightening him so much. What was it that he saw? That he should make this dua. There's only one answer to it, only one, I'm afraid. No more searching for another. He saw that the Jasad sitting on his throne was number one, a terribly evil being, and number two, that he wants to inherit my kingdom. Is it so difficult to understand that? Okay? And he did not want that to happen. And so he made this dua and Allah accepted the dua. And the Khilafah state ended when he died. And the Israelite people were left in a state that was traumatized. Imagine that. That Nabi Muhammad ﷺ dies, and he said, as soon as he died, the Islamic state of Medina collapses, everything falls apart. Can you imagine the pain, the suffering, the shock? It was in that context that Allah then sent something to them to bring comfort to their hearts. That I will send someone who will be Al-Masih, and he will be a prophet to you, and the golden age will come back. This was meant to bring comfort to their hearts, because Allah accepted the dua of Sulaiman alayhi salam. This is the origin of the concept of Al-Masih, the Quran. So who is that Jasad? Who is to come in history? Who is an evil being and who wants to inherit the throne of Sulaiman alayhi salam, the holy state of Israel, and to rule over the world the way Sulaiman alayhi salam ruled over the world. My answer is Dajjal. If you have another answer, then you should show some integrity and publish it. Let the world know, let all of Britain know this is your, if you have any courage in you. If you have any courage, if you have any courage and integrity in you, then open your mouth and say, no, I disagree. The Jasad cannot be Dajjal, it must be this or that or the other. Okay? So then, my answer is the Dajjal. But if you interpret the Quran, you must always say, Allahu A'lam. Allah knows best. Because you could make mistakes. This is our tradition. So I say the Jasad is Dajjal. Allahu A'lam. But I will not explain the Quran to you unless I am convinced that I am correct. If I am not convinced that I am correct, go back and do the homework before you come and teach the people. If the Dajjal is a Jasad, what are the implications of being a jasad? I don't have the time to deal with that tonight. I've done it in several other lectures. I want to devote time to something else today. Not what are the implications of being a jasad. That's a different subject. Now then, after Allah responded to the dua of Sulaiman alayhi salam, he then said, فَسَخَّرْنَا لَهُ الرِّيحَ تَجْرِي بِأَمْرِهِ رُخَاءً وَحَيْثُ أَصَابَ. He responded by giving to Sulaiman alayhi salam command over the wind, that the wind will blow gently at his command, and in whichsoever direction he chose. But what comes after that? What comes after that? وَالشَّيَاطِينَ كُلَّ بَنَّاءٍ وَغَوَّاسٍ. Shayateen are now placed at his disposal. And shayateen are not Muslims. Shayateen are jinn who are evil. Kuffar. Shaitan, shayateen. So these are evil jinn. And these evil jinn are placed at his disposal. And they are used now for all different kinds of construction. And this construction also includes the depths of the sea. Diving down. So, wait a minute. Jinn are going to be involved in construction work on behalf of Sulaiman alayhi salam. وَآخَرِينَ مُقَرَّنِينَ فِي الْأَصْفَادِ. But amongst the jinn there are also those who are in chains. So if you are in chains, you are imprisoned in your world of space and time. You can't come into this world of space and time. فَهَذَا أَطَاعُنَا فَمْنُنْ أَمْسِكْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. And then Allah says, this is my gift to you, Sulaiman alayhi salam. You are free to give or to withhold as you wish. When Sulaiman alayhi salam died, وَلَمَّا قَضَى سُلَيْمَانَ الْمَوْتِ, the shayateen who are in chains are not in our world of space and time. So they don't know he's dead. But they're looking at his throne. And when they look at his throne, they're seeing someone sitting on his throne. We know it's a jasad, but they don't know that. And the jasad is holding on to the staff of Sulaiman alayhi salam. So the shayateen who have been ordered by Allah to work for Sulaiman alayhi salam now continue to work after his death, not knowing that he is dead. And that evil being sitting on his throne, holding on to his staff, is able to exploit all these jinn, these shayateen, for all kinds of constructions above and below. In particular, a particular kind of construction that Allah invites them to do. In Surat Rahman, Ya ma'shar al-jinni wal-ins. Allah is addressing not all of mankind and not all of the jinn. He's addressing 31 times for بِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. So shayateen amongst the human beings, that's what they are, shayateen, and shayateen amongst the jinn. And there is a link between this subject now and the last surah of the Quran, But I leave my student Imam Jalaluddin to teach that, to pretend inshallah. This is your homework. The link between this subject and Kul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas ila Akhir. Okay? Now then, Ya Ma'ashar al-Jinni wal-Ins, O community, evil community of human beings and evil community of jinn. In istata'tum an tanfudhu min aqtari samawati wal ard. Fanfudhu, go ahead. The jinn and the evil jinn and the evil human beings are now going to, invited by Allah, to explore Star Wars, missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, robotic submarines at the bottom of the sea, missiles coming out from inside of the earth, nuclear missiles. In istata'atum an tanfudhu min aqtari samawati wal ard fanfudhu. I'm not going to end the ayah, I'll stop there. So then we see that it is a consequence of the relationship between these evil jinn and these evil human beings that all of this exploration of the star, the space exploration, and satellites going around the earth and so on, and the depths of the sea and the depths of the earth, all of this is in consequence. وآخرين مقرنين في الأصفاد هذا عطاؤنا حمنا ممسك بغير حساب. Will this continue forever? Will they ever learn that Sulaiman alayhi salam is dead? Yes, they will one day learn. ولما قضى سليمان الموت ما ضلهم عن موته إلا دابة الأرض تأكل من سعته. One day they will realize that Sulaiman alayhi salam is dead. And when they realize that, then they'll realize that this is an imposter sitting on his throne. And we don't have to work for him. They're working for him up to this moment that I'm speaking because they believe if they don't, Allah will punish them. But when they realize that he is dead, Sulaiman alayhi salam is dead, and this is an imposter sitting on his throne, they stop working. When will that happen? When dabbatul abd, the word is ta'kulu. It's not when dabbatul abd comes and nibble at the bottom of the staff. To nibble like termites. That's not what the Quran says. That's a bogus explanation. And then the staff loses its balance and it collapses. Yeah. No, that's not it. Ta'kulu min sa'atahu. When the dabbatul ard consume the stuff, then the jinn, the shayateen, will realize that he is dead, that this is a jasad sitting there. What could this be? I have to confess that I am myself struggling. And I say to myself, well, listen, when Musa alayhi salam was told, throw your staff on the ground, it became a snake. He said, strike the rock with your staff, and the water came out, 12 streams of water. Strike the sea with your staff, and the sea parted, and they were able to cross over. So I conclude that the staff of Sulaiman alayhi salam must have had some of that miraculous qualities of the staff of Musa alayhi salam. And so long as you're holding on to this stuff, and so long as it has its miraculous qualities intact, then the Jasad will be able to impersonate Sulaiman al-Islam successfully, and the jinn would not know. But what is it that Dabbatul Ard can do to cause the staff to lose its miraculous qualities? Meaning the staff now collapses in the sense, not physical collapse. The staff collapses in the sense that holding on to the staff now can no longer be used to conceal who I am. So there must be some attack on the staff to cause it to lose its miraculous qualities. What is the ayah? Kharra? Is it kharra? فَلَمَّا خَرَّ تَبَيَّنَ الْجِنُّ أَنْ لَوْ يَعْلَمُ الْغَيْبِ. All right. When the staff collapsed, Allah says, if the jinn had knowledge of ilmul ghaib, they would not have continued for all these years and years and years, thousands of years, in this state of punishment. My answer is, and I can be wrong, my answer is that we are now being trapped in a world of electronic radiation all around us. And that's why you can now navigate with your motor car. Third left, first. It's called GPS. Yeah. Because of the satellites up there, and the radiation, and the smartphones, and the television, and the internet, and the wireless TV, and all of these things. And you can see the damage being done to bees. That the bees can no longer navigate because of this pollution of the atmosphere. And as a consequence, the production of honey is declining around the world. But I am of the opinion, and I can be wrong, let me repeat it again. I'm just struggling to understand that little art. I believe that this radiation is having the effect of destroying that which is miraculous in the staff. And if you can do that to the staff, you can do that to our capacity for spiritual insight. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Let me ask one more time. I don't believe that the damaging impact of the radiation will be as great on adults as it will be with children. Why are you afraid to talk? That your children are being damaged with this radiation. And as a consequence of the damage being done to the children through radiation, the capacity for internal sight, internal hearing, internal capacity for receiving knowledge is being reduced and reduced and reduced. And so there's a tomorrow is coming, that when these people have eyes and cannot see, they have ears and cannot hear, they have hearts and cannot understand, they are going to be reduced to jasads, like Dajjal the Jasad. And then they will dance to every tune that Dajjal plays. And when your son announces that he's a homosexual, and your daughter announces that she is lesbian, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. It'll be too late by that time to buy a ticket to go back to Pakistan. Too late, okay? So here is the Jasad holding on to the stuff. And evil is being committed. Evil is being committed because of this. On this side, the human beings who are evil, and on this side, the jinn who are being evil. And because Dajjal wants to rule the world from Jerusalem, That's what he wants to do. Because he wants to impersonate the Messiah. You have to recognize that those who are following Dajjal as human beings or jinn are the ones who are supporting the state of Israel. And that is your modern Western Christian world, not the Orthodox Christian world. Okay? Now let's go back to Surat al-Rahman. I have 3 ayat to share with you, and we can conclude. Allah gives a warning to them. سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ. This side is laden with sin, heavy with sin. All the lies they have told, all the acts of oppression they have committed, all the acts of kufr they have committed, including that a man can marry another man and get a marriage certificate. They're taking the kufr and throwing it in your faces. And then on this side, the jinn are supporting them. So they're able to bring the scientific and technological revolution. Yeah. You could not have brought the scientific and technological revolution in the Western world without the jinn. You can't bring these cryptocurrencies without the support of the jinn. Your missiles are flying today, your satellites are revolving around the earth, your robotic submarines are underneath the sea. You are arrogant in power because you are being supported by the jinn. And you are oppressing the world. Oppression. But your centuries of oppression will come to an end one day. When will it? سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ. I'm going to, سَنَفْرُغُ, we are going to deal with you. That's what the Surat al-Rahman is saying. This is a powerful punch. We're going to deal with you too laden with sin. And then comes another ayah. I think this comes immediately after. In between is فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ تُكَذِّبُونَ. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. And then comes this ayah. وَنُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمَا شُوَازٌ مِّن نَارٍ وَنُحَاسٌ. And we're going to send against you a flash of fire, followed by smoke. Think. In Surat al-Isra, he said, وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُوهَا قَبْلَ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُوهَا عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. Not a single town or city will escape, but we're going to destroy them all. Which surah? Surah al-Isra. وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُوهَا قَبْلَ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُوهَا عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا كَانَ ذَلِكَ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَسْطُورًا. Not a single town or city will escape, but we will destroy them all. And those which escape destruction will be punished with terrible punishment, and this is the matter inscribed in the kitab. But Allah will not destroy a town or a city which does not deserve to be destroyed. Yes, He says that in the Quran several ways. He will not punish you if you don't deserve to be punished. So now we have to understand that not a single town or city which deserves to be destroyed will escape. They will all be destroyed. And when Allah is destroying them all, you have to go back to the flash of fire, followed by smoke, and the smoke is dukhan. My understanding is nuclear war. The Surah al-Rahman is anticipating nuclear war. Flash of fire, followed by smoke, And every town and city which ought to be destroyed will be destroyed. You can't do that with conventional warfare. So when the nuclear war takes place, and we are now on the door of nuclear war, and I am at the age of 76 one of the only ones in the world of Islamic scholarship, one of the only ones using the Quran to try to explain this subject to you. So it is something to make you weep when the doors of the masjid are closed to me. Wait on Judgment Day. Wait on Judgment Day. Wait on Judgment Day. So, who are those towns and cities to be destroyed? Go to the Quran for the answer. Number one on the list is, a man can marry another man and get a marriage certificate. That's Sodom and Gomorrah. And when he destroyed them with a particular vengeance that is sunk to the lowest part of the earth. And he said, I've blessed this as an ayah, meaning if you return to to homosexuality, I'll return with my punishment. Who are those today who are boasting? The law requires a man and a man. The law permits a man and a man to marry and get a marriage certificate. The Western world, modern Western civilization, not Russia, not Russia, not Russia! Sometimes I have to shout to get people who are sleeping to wake up. Yes, to wake up and show some respect for the Book of Allah. Who are those who are going to be destroyed by Allah? Those who are in riba. فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Take notice of a declaration of war from Allah and His Messenger. If you are consuming riba, who are the riba capital of the world, the modern Western world? With their banking system and with their monetary system of bogus and fraudulent and haram paper money. And I have studied my subject on money, so don't challenge me. I have studied my subject of money, so don't challenge me. It's not normal for people to speak the way I do. No. It's not the normal way for a scholar to speak. But when the house is burning down and the doors of the masjid are closed to me, what should I do? The house is burning down. Yes. The second people to be destroyed are those who are consuming riba. And this is what the Western world is doing. And who are the third? Fir'aun. And Allah not only destroyed him for his oppression and godlessness, but Allah preserved his body. So when the body comes back, the message will come back. You return to oppression and godlessness, I'll return to my punishment. And that's what the Western world is doing. They are oppressing for 500 years and they become godless. So when Allah sends the flash of fire followed by smoke, you can say goodbye to the Western world. Western civilization will not survive. This civilization laden with sin will not survive. Sanursalu alaykum. What? Sanafrugu alaykum. This is the loveliest verse of Surat Rahman for us. It brings joy to our hearts. That the long years of darkness and oppression and tears will come to an end, because Allah says, "Sanafrugu lakum ayyuha thaqalan." Now to end, because the Imam wants me to speak on Surah Al-Rahman. When Allah says to the two communities of human beings and jinn who are in alliance with each other, يا معشر الجن والإنس إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا. They accepted the offer. And then the modern scientific and technological revolution emerged, and all this exploration of skies and the space travel and so on. All of this emerged because of this invitation. And so the intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear submarines and so on, and satellite, military platforms in the sky and so on. Because of this invitation. Allah is not speaking to all human beings and all jinn. But how does the ayah end? This is where Surat Rahman is giving us information that NATO doesn't have, and the US military doesn't have, and the British military doesn't have. And I was going to conceal this. I said, no, I won't let them know what the Quran is saying. Let them guess. But then afterwards I said, no. If Allah has given it in the Quran, it must be proclaimed. Wow. So tonight I'm proclaiming it for the first time. Yeah, tonight I'm proclaiming it from Dewsbury? Dewsbury. I'm proclaiming it for the first time. So NATO will listen to this. Oh yes, NATO will listen to it. They're listening to me. Allah says, لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان. That you cannot penetrate the skies, space travel, satellites, robotic submarines and so on. You cannot do it. Drones, you cannot do it illa bisultan. It is not possible for you to do it unless I authorize it. Without my authority, not possible. So therefore, can you read between the lines? That on that day, when I withdraw my authority, your missiles won't fly. So now you can understand, سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ. I'm going to deal with you. I'm going to deal with you, you sin-laden people. This is what Surat Rahman is saying. When I withdraw my authority, your missiles won't fly. Allah is not talking about Russia, where a man cannot marry another man and get a marriage certificate. He's not talking about Russia, where you do not have a banking system and a monetary system oppressing mankind and ripping them off. Rather, Russia is being targeted by them with sanctions and sanctions and sanctions, trying to destroy their money. So Russia is being targeted by the oppressor. Russia is oppressed. If you don't know that, go back to school. And finally, Russia doesn't want to rule the world. No. These are the ones who want to rule the world, the Western world. And because Russia refuses to bow and submit to them, and because Russia has refused, China now has some courage. China says, we too. Because they refuse to bow and submit. Pakistan, of course, was the first to bow. Say, come, let me clean your shoes for you. We're ready to clean your shoes for you, so our children could go to school in the United States. Yeah, so our children could get scholarships to go to the United States and so on. Yeah. But not Russia and not China. They are standing up to the oppressor. And because they refuse to bow, that is why they want to wage war on them. So when Allah decides to withhold His authority, لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان. Why should He withdraw His authority for Russia when Russia is not an oppressor? So now I think I've said enough. NATO is, of course, won't be able to eat their food and digest their food now. Now that the Quran has spoken, not Imran. From Dewsbury, the Quran has spoken. That this is what is going to happen in the war which is coming, and we pray for it with all our hearts. That Allah will choose this moment to fulfill His promise in Surah Rahman. سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ. We thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do you have any questions? Dewsbury is going to become famous now.
MashaAllah.
Does the numeric 31 relate to anything?
31, I don't know why she chose 31. Except to say this is 31 times he's knocking at your head. To say, listen, there's something in this surah of tremendous importance, which is the alliance between human beings and jinn. Both of them evil, both of them shayateen. And you have a very important link to this with the last surah of the Quran, Surat Nas. But that is Imam Jalaluddin's homework.
Sheikh Abab, any questions to the Sheikh? Has he answered your question?
Just open a lot of doors. So inshallah we will study more. First time I've heard from this angle. MashaAllah.
Sheikh, can I ask a question? You mentioned the jasad referred to in Surah.
Don't ask me a question, it'll take 1 hour to answer, please. My wife is waiting in Manchester. I'll give you an answer small.
Are you going to Manchester tonight?
I have to go back to Manchester and my wife is in the hotel waiting for me.
So you can't follow Sheikh back to Manchester?
I'm not going to give, I'm not going to ask me a question to have an answer for 1 hour long now.
This jasad, is it the actual Dajjal since Sulaiman alayhi salam went?
Yes, the jasad that was shown in the vision is news communicated to Sulaiman alayhi salam that Dajjal wants to inherit your throne, that Dajjal is evil and that Dajjal is a jasad. What is the implication of Dajjal being a jasad? That is 1 hour. But I've answered that in other lectures, excuse me, I think in Glasgow. So it should be on my YouTube.
I was at Glasgow.
You were there in Glasgow?
Yeah, yeah.
Did I answer it there?
Not quite, because I was wondering whether, if that jasad is Dajjal from the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam, how did Tamim al-Dari meet him on an island?
Tamim al-Dari had a vision. It
So
could
it
not have
wasn't
been
a physical.
it could not have been an actual meeting. It had to be a vision. Why? I'm not going to answer you. It could not have been an actual meeting of Dajjal. It had to be a vision. Why? You do your homework. Alright? And next time you meet me, then I'll answer you. I may have answered this in some of my lectures. You can check it out. Yeah. I don't want to answer all questions. No. I want you to think. I want you to think. It becomes more exciting this way. When you think and think and think and you beg Allah for knowledge. And then the answer comes to you. That's more exciting. Okay? The question is, how do we come to the conclusion that when Tamim al-Dari met with Dajjal, it was not an actual meeting but a vision? That's the question. Any other questions?
If that's what Surah Al-Kahf, that's related. Surah Al-Kahf, ayah 17.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Shams إذا طلعت.
Dajjal was seen in chains on an island. Hadith of Tamim al-Dari. Okay? But then the Prophet ﷺ suspected a Jewish boy in Yathrib, now known as Medina, at Dajjal. How could he suspect someone in Medina to be Dajjal when Medina is not an island? And the boy he suspected to be Dajjal was not in chains. The answer is that the Prophet ﷺ knew that Dajjal had been released. And this event is meant to communicate that knowledge to us. Because it is only if he is released from his chains that there is a possibility to see him in Medina. Can that boy be Dajjal? No. Because the Quran tells us that Dajjal wants to rule the world from the throne of Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam. But this boy died and no link at all with ruling the world from the throne of Sulaiman alayhi salam. So Ibn Sayyad could not have been Dajjal. Okay, if Dajjal is released and he's on earth, how come we can't see him? Because he's not in our world of space and time. A day like a year, a day like a month, a day like a week are three stages of his life in which he's not in our world of space and time. Only when his day is like our day would he be in our world of space and then we see him. But there's evidence that he's everywhere, particularly in Makkah today. Oh yes, you could see the evidence of Dajjal in Makkah. When Dajjal appears in person, however, he will not come from the island. He'll come from the east. When he appears in person, he comes from the east. But the island is Britain. And I've given, unless you have been eating biryani and going to sleep, you'll be unaware of all the evidence I have provided to prove the point that the island is Britain. Okay. Now then, Nabi Isa alayhi salam left this world 2,000 years ago at the age of about 33. And when he returns exactly as he left. He would not have aged by even one day. So between that world and this world, there has been some kind of a connection that you would not age and you are away from this world. The young men are in the cave sleeping for 300 years. And after 300 years when they wake up, they ask each other, how long have we been here? And one of them said, a day or part of a day. Which is extraordinary, because if you've been there in the cave for 300 years, after 300 years your beard will be long from here to Manchester. So you'll be able to see very clearly, your fingernails long, 300 years. But no, they were exactly as they were 300 years earlier. They had not aged at all. That's why he said a day or part of a day. So it appears that they were not in our world of space and time for 300 years. Is that okay? Because they did not age. Okay? But then Surat Al-Kahf tells us that every single day of those 300 years, every single day, they were moving from this side of the cave to that side. وَنُقَلِّبُهُمْ ذَاتَ الْيَمِينِ وَذَاتَ الشِّمَالِ. Because the sunlight entered here in the morning, the sunlight entered here in the evening, and the bodies were attracted to the sunlight. So for every single day of those 300 years, they were in this world of space and time. So now Surat Al-Kahf is telling us it is possible to be simultaneously in the Samawat and in this world. Simultaneously. That is Dajjal. He is simultaneously in that world and this world ever since he was released from the time of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu. That's my answer to you. Any other questions?
Start the hadith where the Prophet suspects Ibn Sayyad to be the Dajjal. How do you correlate with his other saying that he will come for 40 days? If he knew that he will have one day like a month, one day like a week, and one day like a year, would he not automatically say that this is not the phase for the Dajjal to be in our space and time?
I believe, and when you meet Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu, you can ask him, I believe that the event of Ibn Sayyar is meant to communicate a message to the world that Dajjal has been released. That is the importance of the evacuation. But that message has not reached. 1400 years have passed and it still has not reached us. Pardon me?
Some people think that they're still under the ground, like George and Matt George.
No, no. The world of Islamic scholarship is silent on the subject of Dajjal. You hardly find anyone lecturing on Dajjal. Dr. Bilal Phillips is my brother. I am from Trinidad, he's from Jamaica. He is Salafi. My Sheikh was Sufi. The only reason why I do not identify myself as Sufi anymore is because I do not want to have to to defend any religious practice which is not based on the Quran and Sunnah. That's all. But what I preach is tasawwuf. But tasawwuf based on the Quran and Sunnah. I'm not departing from the Quran and Sunnah. Okay? Bilal Phillips is one of the few who's been lecturing on Dajjal. Hamza Yusuf has been doing a better job than Bilal, although I'm not speaking my brother Bilal Phillips, no. Hamza Yusuf, because of his Sufi background, been able to do a better job on Dajjal. Someone in Britain called Thompson, what's his name?
Cambridge professor.
Wrote on Dajjal a red cover book.
Ahmed Thompson.
What's his name?
Ahmed Thompson.
Ahmad Thompson, yes. Many years ago, wrote a book on Dajjal. Okay? But other than that, the world of Islamic scholarship chooses not to touch the subject. Not to touch the subject. I am now making an effort to write on this subject, to leave a legacy behind me. This is my first book. Where is it? This is my first book. Dajjal, the Quran, and Zaman. Just completed. I'm working on my second book, From Jesus, the True Messiah, to Dajjal, the False Messiah, A Journey in Islamic Eschatology. I hope to finish it by the end of this year. And then I have 3 more. One on Dajjal and money, because that's the most dangerous problem today. The next one on Dajjal and the feminist revolution, so that's also very dangerous. And the last one is Dajjal, the Quran, and Akhir Zaman. And after that, my students will have to take over the rest of the subject of Dajjal. Any more questions? Otherwise, I have a long trip back.
Sheikh, can I just take this opportunity to thank you for coming here to Dewsbury and to enlightening us with so many knowledge, mashallah. And I hope that this can basically be a stepping stone for people of not just Dewsbury, but the Ummah of Rasulullah around the world to start unifying with each other and forgetting these sectarial differences between each other, inshallah. So I hope to have you here again.
Ameen. But I think I speak for everybody here tonight that we want to send a message to thank your wife for this very delicious biryani.
You can say that in person.
Yes. Okay, if there are no more questions, shall we make the dua? ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تبارك ربنا وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلق محمد وعلى آله وعلى أصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.